prana is actually universal. Many cultures talk about energy. In Sanskrit, we call it prana. In China, we call it chi. Inner aura is within you and interpenetrates your physical body and extends beyond it. Now, if you're a regular person, it usually extends about 4 to 5 inches. However, the aura does change from person to person, depends on their evolution or depends on sometimes their position. So if you have a CEO, their energy body is different in terms of size and quality from someone on the road.
So let's say if someone has a high position, how far does the aura extend?
It depends on person to person.
Okay.
Like great yogis, they used to have an inner aura which extended kilometers.
Okay, so you have the meridians, which are the nadis. These are all invisible. This entire energy body is invisible.
Well, in the class, we teach you how to feel. If there's no prana, you really feel it. Like as in, why do you feel so low, so depressed? Why aren't things happening for you? Because prana powers everything. My grandfather actually was diagnosed with last stage cancer, and they gave him about 6 months to live. And then he did pranic healing. Of course, the first thing we did was sort of jump into action. He lasted for about 4 years.
Recently, it was used to help people quit smoking.
Yes, it does. Of course, the person has to have the will to give it up.
What are the simple things one can do in their daily life to just improve the flow of prana within their system?
Have a salt water bath. Salt water bath is very, very good for removing dirty energy.
Our ancient Indian practices hold the key to physical and mental well-being, but somewhere along the way we lost touch with our roots. The good thing is that we are being reintroduced to them, even if they're being packaged a little differently and coming to us from different parts of the world. One example of this is Pranic Healing, which has gained a lot of popularity worldwide. Typically, we equate prana with breath, but as yoga and Vedanta explain, prana is actually the life force which flows within us, enabling us to function. Our guest on this episode of Buzz by the Bay has 2 decades of experience as a pranic healer and will explain to us how this technique helps us to heal our mind and body and restore our balance. Very pleased to welcome in the studio Mekhla Muttoo. Welcome, Mekhla.
Hi, I'm happy to be here.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, finally.
Yes, I've been hearing so much about this term pranic healing for years now. I must admit I've never tried it, but I do know what the concept of prana is.
Okay.
And pranic healing is, to my understanding, a holistic form of health.
Yes.
Which is essentially energy healing or
Correct.
works on your energy body. But if you
Correct.
could just explain to us.
Okay. So pranic healing comes from the word prana, which means life force or life energy. This prana or energy influences everything that we do. So, you know, if you're familiar with vibes or someone talks about, oh, this one's energy is good or not good, pranic healers have been talking about this for a while, and in India we have been aware of prana for many, many centuries now. What Master Choa Sui has done he's taken all this knowledge and put it in a very modern format. So modern pranic healing is something that you can pick up very, very easily in a 2-day class. Now, prana is actually universal. Many cultures talk about energy. In Sanskrit, we call it prana. In China, we call it chi. And in Japan, we call it ki. So like Reiki, or, you know, in Tai Chi, which is Chinese also. So many different cultures have been talking about energy, and energy is universal. The terms have been obviously been different, but in general, all of us are slightly sensitive to energy. So if you look at popular terms now, like, you know, someone's aura is nice or something, what do they mean by that? They actually are reacting to the energy body of that person. It is not physical. It is something that, well, if you can see energy, you know, clairvoyants or people who can see energy, they talk about it. there is a luminous cloud that interpenetrates your physical body, which we call the energy body. This energy body is like a mold for the physical body. So your energy actually is inside and goes a little outside your physical body. Now, your energy body is crucial because it controls your physical health, your emotional health, everything. Because the energy body has different components like chakras or meridians or nadis. Now, the prana or the energy has to keep flowing so that there are no blockages and therefore no disease or no problems. But in modern day living, like stress or worry or anxiety or something, which hits you out of the blue, your energy body gets affected and therefore your physical body gets affected.
Yeah.
So people usually think it's actually just the physical body, but your energy body is crucial for your health and well-being.
Okay, so essentially you heal the physical body by healing the
energy body. Correct.
And prana, many people understand it or equate it to just breath. But as all these ancient cultures, including Vedanta and yoga, explain that prana is your life force.
Correct.
It's your vital energy that essentially keeps you alive. So in yoga at least they say breath is the only tangible form of prana. But actually prana is your entire vital energy in your system.
So it's when somebody's body dies, what do they say? Uske pran chut gaye, right? So in pranic healing, you actually learn how to increase the prana level in your body. So it's like you learn a few techniques. So it's, you put your mobile on charge and, by the end of the day or during the day, you can actually recharge your physical body through certain techniques in pranic healing, which increase the life force in your body.
Okay, so you essentially recharge your body, remove certain blockages.
Correct.
So that the prana flows freely.
Yes, you've got that completely correct. In pranic healing, there are two techniques, cleansing and energizing. Okay. So if you have a cup, or let's say the cup is the chakra or an energy center, which is clogged up and dirty, or the cup is dirty, what do? You clean it up first and then you put in fresh water or fresh coffee. So the same thing with our energy body or our chakras, you clean it out first and then you put fresh prana in. The good part in pranic healing is you don't use your own energy. There are certain sources of prana that you use in class to sort of replenish the energy.
Okay, very interesting. So I want to ask you first, who is Grandmaster? You mentioned him.
Yes.
Choa Kok Sui.
Yes.
Who is he?
Grandmaster is the founder of modern pranic healing and Arhatic yoga. He was a visionary. He was a family man. He was a scientist, a chemical engineer. He was a businessman and he was a family man. So he actually, I think in 1987, formally introduced pranic healing as such in Manila. But the study behind it took about 25-30 years of intense study and validation of these techniques.
Okay, very interesting. So he did take from different cultures.
Yes, he validated a lot of it.
So I want to come to this. I'm familiar with yoga, and to me a lot of pranic healing sounds very similar to what yoga says, which yoga basically says, yoga and Vedanta say that we have prana, the life force that flows through us. It says that most illnesses are essentially psychosomatic, which occur because the prana is not flowing freely through the body. There are many blockages. So that's why you focus on the 7 chakras, healing. Each chakra stands for something. You focus on removing blockages from the chakras, and essentially making sure that prana flows freely and that you cure yourself.
Correct.
Okay, that is what yoga and Vedanta say.
Yes.
Pranayam again is a form of controlling the flow of prana or vital energy through breath control. So if you could explain to me where does pranic healing differ from this?
That's an excellent question. There are many ways to heal, right? Every culture has its own way to heal. What Master Choa did was he actually took and validated a lot of these practices. So he removed the superstition from it, and then he taught it to us in a way that you can pick it up in 2 days. Okay, so while everybody talks about healing, what he did was give a form of healing which was very easy to pick up. So probably 16 years and above, you can sit in a class, you can pick up how to do self-healing. You can heal distantly, you can heal the person in front of you, you'd learn about the law of karma. So there's a whole step-by-step process which is taught in the class. Now, how does it differ? One is there are many protocols for different things, and it works very quickly, especially on simple ailments. Chronic ailments, of course, take a longer time to heal, but we've seen many mothers use it for their kids, for their stomach ailments. You can, and I've seen it happen in my family also, where my mother had cancer and we had to obviously do chemotherapy. Oh, one thing I do need to say is that pranic healing complements any medical practice. Okay. And so while she was getting chemotherapy, she was also getting pranic healing done. Now, anybody who suffered from cancer or has seen their family go through chemotherapy, there's a whole host of side effects.
Yes.
And it's extremely painful for the family, obviously the patient, and of course the family. What I found through first-hand experience is that it works brilliantly with the pain, with the side effects, with the getting better part of it. It's, of course, the medicine was the main thing that we were doing, but there was also so much pranic healing which went side by side before she went in for chemotherapy, during chemotherapy, after chemotherapy, so that her body was able to handle it.
All right. So as you said, it complements allopathic medicine. So along with chemo and other treatments, you can take it. It helps with pain management. It helps to mitigate the side effects.
Yes.
I want to come to all this later and the various ailments that you can see marked change in with pranic healing. I want to come to that, the technique that's used. But before we get into that, if you could just briefly explain what the components of the energy body.
Okay, so you have something called an inner aura. This inner aura is within you and interpenetrates your physical body and extends beyond it. Now, if you're a regular person, it usually extends about 4 to 5 inches. However, the aura does change from person to person, depends on their evolution or depends on sometimes their position. So if you have a CEO, their energy body is different in terms of size and quality from someone on the road.
It would be bigger aura.
Yes.
You said 4 to 5 inches is what the aura extends beyond the physical body.
Yes.
So let's say if someone has a high position, how far does the aura extend?
It depends on person to person.
Okay.
Like great yogis, they used to have an inner aura which extended kilometers.
Yeah.
Right? So you feel better just in their presence and you get uplifted in their presence. So which is why, again, taking the example of when you come and sit next to somebody, you feel nice sitting next to them because you actually may not be touching them, but you're sitting in their energy body, in their energy field as such.
All right.
Okay, so that's why, and also if someone complains a lot, you don't want to sit next to them because the energy in their energy body is negative or not very nice, right? So the energy body has an inner aura. In this inner aura, you have chakras or energy centers that control and regulate the prana running through your body. These energy centers are like power stations, okay? Now, they power a certain part of your body. So they have physical functions, they have psychological functions, right?
7 chakras.
In pranic healing, they teach you actually more than 7, they teach you 11, and each of those have a certain function. So if I would just take the heart chakra is in charge of your physical heart. However, it is also in charge of love, your ability to feel peace and sweetness and forgiveness, all of that, right? So, people talk about, oh, I want that person to love me or whatever, but if the heart chakra is really small, the capacity is not there.
Capacity to love, empathize.
To empathize, correct. The good part in pranic healing is it doesn't matter where you start, you can always build your chakras, build your aura to become bigger and stronger through the practices. So the energy body controls everything. So you have the nadis, which are in a way the meridians, which actually are pathways of the prana to circulate. You have the chakras. You have something called the health rays or the health aura, which almost act like a protective force field for you in a way. they also expel the toxins and the dirty energy from your aura.
Okay, so you have the meridians, which are the nadis. These are all invisible. This entire energy body is invisible.
Well, in the class, we teach you how to feel the
Oh.
aura. Okay, so that's the good part, because again, Master Chua was very like, he used to quantify everything. So while we say, okay, this person's energy is nice, really, how nice is it? How big is the aura? So in the class, you actually learn how to check or to feel the energy. When you go further and further in pranic healing, you learn more techniques.
Okay, well, wow, you've said a lot of very interesting things. Okay, and you've explained it really well. I like this. So he actually taught you all to quantify
Yes.
the energy and
Yes.
quantify your aura. That
Yes.
sounds extremely interesting. So when you meet people, are you usually quantifying their aura?
No,
Do
I
you
can't
do
tell you all.
that?
I can't tell you all my secrets. But yes, we. How can I explain this? It's something like when you do this for a long time, your energy body becomes sensitive to a lot of things, and your ability to pick up and be intuitive completely changes.
Okay.
So the chakras, because they are in charge of certain psychological functions or certain parts of you, like your crown chakra is the center of intuition.
Right.
Now, when you do twin hearts meditation, which is taught in the basic pranic healing class, the crown chakra is always being used. So you kind of fine tune it, fine tune your aura, you fine tune your chakras, and then you grow over the years. You know, there is a massive difference when you start doing something like this in the size of your aura. However, constant practice is also needed, because you want the aura, I mean, like of course it extends when you meditate, but then it comes back to normal. So that's why, you know, it's a spiritual practice, so you keep practicing it, and it's not like a one-off and that's it, you finish. So sometimes people get mixed up between pranic healing and meditation.
Okay.
So in the pranic healing class, they teach you ways of self-healing and healing protocols, right? They also teach you a meditation, which is a guided meditation, which also has cleansing benefits.
This is the twin hearts one.
Correct. So twin hearts meditation is a 21-minute guided meditation which activates the heart chakra and the crown chakra and brings down certain types of energy which are very healing in their way. They clean you out of your negative thoughts and emotions. They also clean out the negative thoughts and emotions that other people throw towards you. And they also clean the environment which you're doing the meditation in. So if you practice this at home or at office where there's a lot of stress, if let's say a group of people do it, the energy in the home or in the office tends to change.
So how would you be able to explain to us how you can quantify like one's aura or energy? Or you can't
come to class with me, because it's about feeling, right?
It's about feeling.
It's about feeling it with your hands. Okay, so we use the hands quite a lot, but we don't touch anybody. So it's a no touch energy healing
No
method.
touch, right.
Because so in the class itself, let's say you come on your first day, you'll be obviously one of the first few things we actually do is get people to experience prana or energy. We can do that after this.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so we can play with prana. Once you feel it, it's really quite amazing seeing someone's whole face change, because suddenly everything that you kind of felt in a way suddenly physicalizes or concretizes in your hand where you can feel it.
How does one scan the body for blockages?
That again, so the process is actually taught in class, but you usually first start off with how big the energy body is. Okay? Then you see which chakras. When I say see, that everyone's taught how to scan or to gauge the energy in the chakra. Now the energy in the chakra needs to be consistent throughout or balanced throughout. If something is congested, okay, something is depleted, you're able to actually figure that out with the scanning.
Okay.
Right? So there are two types of disease or diseased conditions. Congestion, too much energy combined with dirty energy, or too little energy or prana in that area. So in both ways, pranic healing actually cleanses the blockage. So if you think about it, if there's a pipe, right, and the energy or the water which is falling through the pipe is going and gets stuck because of the blockage, what pranic healing does with the cleansing is remove the blockage. The energy starts flowing beautifully. Sources of prana are ground, air, the sun. Also trees are a huge source of prana or energy. So you learn how to take in this prana through your body and use your body almost like an instrument.
So, we've spoken quite a bit about the theory and the process, and it's really very interesting. But I want to go on to specific ailment management. But before that, is there any scientific basis to this?
Everyone is sort of discussing it right now. There are, studies which are happening as we speak, but studies have to be done over a long-term, time period as such. We have a lot of studies being published on world pranic healing, global pranic healing, where they've gone and used certain ailments and they've seen the difference which happens in the system.
And of course, it's based on so much ancient knowledge from so many different civilizations. There has to be some, sort of basis, scientific basis. I mean, it's worked over thousands of years. So there has to be something to it.
Yes. If you think about it, science is also evolving, right? So before people actually discovered gravity, right, it didn't mean that gravity didn't exist. Prana, if there's no prana, you really feel it. Like, as in, why do you feel so low, so depressed? Why aren't things happening for you? Because prana powers everything. Just because you cannot see it with the naked eye, though some people can, just because it is not easily seen does not mean it does not exist, and that people will not talk about it later. I was looking at some of the research at the back, and this scientific discovery has been throughout the ages. So it's becoming more and more popular. If you see how people are reacting and what current terminology is, the use of prana and aura and energy is really becoming very, very mainstream.
But like you said, there's much more beyond the material world and beyond the physical body. That for sure, I think that many people have proved, and that's why it's essential to heal the energy body, to heal the physical body.
Yes.
I mean, Hinduism has always believed that we are not bodies with a soul, we are souls with a body.
Exactly.
So it's the basis, that is the very basis of a lot of this. But let's come to specific ailment management. You said that it's good for pain management, for reducing side effects. You gave it to your mother while she was undergoing chemo, and she got better.
Yeah. She's okay now.
She's okay now. Okay, wonderful. What are the ailments that respond well to pranic healing?
It's really quite amazing because it works well on every type of ailment, from simple coughs and colds, or you have a bad stomach or something like that. It works brilliantly on that. It works very well on severe or chronic ailments. We just say that if something is happening, come to us a little in advance. Don't make it your last Hail Mary or something
Your
like
last
that.
resort.
Last resort, then I'll come to pranic healing.
Yeah.
Because you should be working with it side by side, because if something is on its last, or if your body is really suffering very badly and the doctors have said, oh, nothing doing, it's always it's a little difficult to heal at that point.
It's sort of a cumulative, ongoing process.
My grandfather actually was diagnosed with last stage cancer, and they gave him about 6 months to live. And then he did pranic healing. Of course, the first thing we did was sort of jump into action. He lasted for about 4 years.
Oh, fantastic.
But even in 3 years it went off really well. Pranic healing worked brilliantly. The 4th year also, because the body had broken down badly with the chemo, and his body was old. He was my grandfather's.
Yeah.
So I think it was probably about time for him to go.
Yeah, we all have to
go.
Exit this body at some point, right?
So the passing was actually very peaceful, with even though he had cancer, he left in a very good way as well.
Okay. but he lasted 4 years when the doctors gave him 6 months. And so what does this, so when someone comes to you, let's say your grandfather had, last stage cancer, what does this healing entail? Does someone come and do some healing one-on-one with you, or are you expected to do your own meditation? I mean, what does it entail really?
So let's say someone's sick, you can always come to a authorized pranic healer. The reason why I'm saying it, because a lot of people need to learn, and there are lots of people who talk, but you need to go to a good healer, a reputable pranic healer firstly. You will go to them, they'll probably meet you the first time or speak to you the first time and ask for a proper description of your problems, probably ask for your medical reports, especially for something like this. You can sit with them one-on-one. The healing is always done one-on-one, whether you're in front of them or done distantly as well. So it can, and so like my grandfather, he was in Delhi and I was in Bombay, and if there was something that he was suffering from, I used to run, I used to do the protocol at that point, and it used to work. So some people think that just because they're not in front of them directly doesn't, or maybe it's less. It works beautifully on both.
So you can do it remotely.
Yes.
Okay. What about chronic conditions like diabetes? And,
yes, it's used
lifestyle
for that.
diseases, heart ailments, or skin problems like psoriasis and things like that.
It is really, really wonderful for skin problems.
Okay.
Because if it's to do with stress, because sometimes people have a lot of skin breakouts or rashes because of stress.
Yeah.
Pranic healing is brilliant for that. And the good part is it doesn't have any side effects, right? So it doesn't have any side effects. It's good for bones, blood, muscles, any form of physical issue, psychological, emotional issues as well. So it can be used, that's the great part. It's like a very, very flexible system where you can use it on many different types of ailments. However, we do say that please do go see a doctor. Keep a very balanced state of mind and use it. Use your common sense when you're thinking of something. Doesn't mean, oh, I've learned pranic healing, I only want to do pranic healing.
No. Okay, both simultaneously. Yes, that makes sense. You know, you're not sort of telling them to give up the allopathic medicine. You know that that's dangerous. You have to be realistic.
Yeah.
Can you give us some more examples of how it may have worked on skin ailments or diabetics or heart disease, for example?
There are many stories on people who've suffered broken bones, heart issues. Heart is also, if you see, when somebody has a heart issue, the doctor says, you take it easy and don't stress out. And that person is probably panicking because they've been told don't stress out.
Yeah.
You see, even when someone tries to be calm, when they have something like this, the energy of the stress, the worry is still there in the chakra.
Yeah.
Okay? So, or let's say you've gone through some trauma, even though it's been a few years, the energy is still there.
Yeah.
You have to remove that energy for that person to feel better or lighter. So let's say if someone has a heart issue, the heart of course is affected, including also the solar plexus chakra. The solar plexus chakra also tends to accumulate all the stress and the worry. It's in charge of your gastrointestinal system, just above it in the soft area in between your rib cage.
Okay, so like you said, when it's a heart ailment, it's usually the heart chakra and the solar plexus chakra which are kind of clogged or blocked.
Yeah.
Let's take an example of skin ailments. Usually which chakra is the one that's affected?
I will talk about one chakra which a lot of people have issues with. It's the solar plexus, because modern day living is not super peaceful, right?
Yeah.
Now the solar plexus chakra, that's where a lot of the anger, the resentment, the pain, etc. are sort of
Self-esteem also?
Yeah, self-esteem on many levels. There are also other chakras which get affected in self-esteem, but what happens is the solar plexus tends to malfunction. So even fear gets stuck there. So if you think about it, and physically the solar plexus is also in charge of your stomach and your digestion.
Yes.
So if someone is really afraid, so let's say you have a child, exams coming up, automatically the stomach goes.
Yeah.
Because the solar plexus chakra is malfunctioning at that point. So you can actually easily do a healing, clean out the solar plexus, energize it if it needs be, straighten out the issue, and the person moves.
So, what about things like obesity? I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure like this chakra healing or energy healing can help you improve your willpower and resist food. Does it help with things like that?
You're asking a chocolate lover this. I don't want to give it up, but if I really wanted to, you can. Because, you know, if you call up a pranic healer and say, I want to lose 25 kilos without going to the gym, the answer is no, you still have to work out. Okay?
Okay.
But what it does do is it does work if you kind of combine it with exercise and diet, right? Now, the other thing when the body is overweight, there's low self-esteem. There's also addictions to certain types of foods, and you know it's bad for you and you want to eat the sweets or the dessert or start with dessert like me, but it's like that can be removed. That can be helped with.
That craving.
That craving. The addictions, the low self-esteem, the inability, and then you have to see why you eat. Like if you have a proper session with a healer, probably one of the questions was that, okay, fine, why is it that you're eating so much? Or is it emotional? So then if I'd look at, okay, do we need to remove certain addictions or the certain pattern that the person has? So pranic psychotherapy, which is a part of pranic healing, it's the third class that you do. It actually removes these addictions, these problems and patterns of behavior which are very destructive in a way.
Okay, very interesting. And I've heard that recently it was used to help people quit smoking.
Yes, it does. Of course, the person has to have the will to give it up. Apart from that, the craving to remove it and the energy of smoking can be removed. The other thing you can use it with is when you're quitting, there are also sometimes nicotine patches or certain medications sometimes. And if you react badly to the nicotine patches, then what do you do, right? So pranic healing is no touch, no drug, and there are no side effects like, feeling nauseous or something like that. Nothing like that happens. It's actually a really healthy way to go about it.
And people have quit smoking with it? And without using nicotine patches?
I know someone very close to me who's
quit smoking with pranic healing. Amazing.
Pranic healing and willpower also.
But willpower, it's supposed to increase your willpower.
Yeah,
right?
it does. There are ways of increasing the willpower as well. So yes, I do know of someone like that.
Very interesting. Lastly, what are the simple things, talking about prana and pranic healing, what are the simple things one can do in their daily life to just improve the flow of prana within their system?
Okay. Have a salt water bath. Salt water bath is very, very good for removing dirty energy. And I think through the ages, people have been talking about go swim in the sea, right? Why? Because salt has the ability to remove or destroy dirty energy. Water absorbs it. So let's give a tip right now. When you have a bath, what you can do is take ordinary salt. It doesn't have to be something fancy. It can be ordinary, normal kitchen salt.
Okay.
Take a few handfuls of it in your hand, put a little bit of water, like a scrub, right?
Yeah.
And you put it all across your body and you wait about 1 to 2 minutes and then you wash it off with water. You can do it after your soap and water. You can do it before, it's up to you. But basically, just take a couple of handfuls of salt. 1 handful will not be enough. And especially the parts which hurt, you can also put it there. But generally throughout your whole body, remember to leave it about 1 to 2 minutes and then wash it off. And you do this for a couple of days, you'll see a huge, quite a big change.
Wow, so a salt water bath can help, cleanse your energy.
Yes, it cleanses your energy. And it's nice, for you to do if you are, let's say, traveling every day. You think about it. If someone takes a train daily, the energy of the train is not peaceful. It's a bit dirty. You don't want to go there. There's so many thoughts, so many emotions. Actually, in Bombay itself, it's like swimming in a sea of energy, right? Because there's so many people. Those people have thoughts and energies which produce thoughts and emotions that produce a certain type of energy.
Yeah.
So you're constantly swimming in this kind of whirlpool of thoughts and emotions of other people. You need to clean yourself out regularly for you to be healthy, for you to be happy, because we do tend to pick up certain things from different people, especially throughout the course of the day. So let's say you come home, clean yourself out, go to sleep happy, a fresh start for the next day.
Lovely. Well, thank you so much for this tip and for all the other useful information, valuable information and knowledge you've given us. This Twin Hearts meditation definitely sounds very interesting.
You
I
must
will
come.
check it out.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Mekhla. Pleasure having you on Buzz by the Bay.
Thank you for having me. Lovely meeting you too.